What's up, everyone? It's your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How's everyone doing today? Doing well myself. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to watch the State of Union address. This happened last night. I was working, so I can do it live, but we're going to do it today. I've heard 100 different things. Biden did so wonderful. He was so great. Biden did so terrible. He threatened the Supreme Court. That's what I've been hearing. So I'm going to listen to it for myself. Haven't heard any of it. Purposely did that. Haven't heard any of it. Apparently, polls are showing that 62% of people are now agreeing and liking Biden's policies. Doesn't make much sense to me, but whatever. So, but yeah, that's the plan for today. Is watch this wonderful State of Union and see what is up. Before we get into it, just want to give a shout out to YKD Loves Trump for the follow. Appreciate you. Thanks for the follow. If you're following me and watching this, please give me a like and a follow. Very appreciative. But yeah. And then afterwards, we're going to watch I guess a response video from Senator Katie Britt, her rebuttal to the State of Union. So I have no idea what's going on. I've heard good things, bad things, like just not even specifics, just, ooh, this is so awesome, and ooh, this is so weird. So I don't know. Coffee spilly. But yeah, so that's the plan. A little housekeeping. Make sure you follow me at official W Ghost on X. It's the best way to follow me and see when I go live and find the various links to my various channels. Yeah, it's best place. And then of course, rumble.com/withghost. Follow me there. That is, where I'm going to generally stream, regardless of anything. If YouTube goes down, I'm going to be streaming on Rumble regardless. So just follow me on Rumble. And then, of course, twitch.tv @official with Ghost. I had to think about it for a second. Sorry. And then youtube.com/withghost. But again, follow me on X. Best way to follow me. And then check out Coffee Brand Coffee. My referral link and coupon code is in the description. It is by far my favorite coffee company so far. Let's check that out. All right, so let's get into this. Let's watch this State of Union. And I can finally see why everyone is praising it so much. Because I don't get it, people. I don't get it. So here he is.
Thank you.
Drinking coffee every day didn't work for me, but I couldn't figure out why until I went from 184.
Good evening. Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
I agree.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans, in January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation, and he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march. invading Ukraine, and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
How do you know that?
But Ukraine,
The fuck is this? Why are you like
Ukraine,
let me say this, like this doing a speech, can we just hold the applause until the end? And this random, oh, let me jump up and it's dumb. This is dumb. Let's get through the speech and then you can applause. I don't know.
you can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine.
What
And
benefit
provide
do we
the
get from
weapons.
standing with Ukraine?
That needs to defend itself.
I mean, do we have any indication that Putin's actually going to continue on? Like, what indication do you have? You're just saying stuff,
That is
Joe.
all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers.
They're asking
In
for our
fact, there are
money,
no American
a shit
soldiers
ton of
in war in
money, and they're
Ukraine,
losing.
I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. Wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall."
Okay, so
Now,
like again, he's talking about East Berlin, West Berlin. We had interest in East Berlin and West Berlin. What interest do we have in Ukraine? Like what benefit do we get from Ukraine? Like back in Ronald Reagan time during the Cold War, a benefit for East Berlin and West Berlin was to prevent the spread of communism, which could affect us eventually. And having but like what benefit do we have with Ukraine? Like what do we gain from defending Ukraine is my question.
now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president
Now
actually said
what's
that,
the
bowing down to a
context?
Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
Bowing down to a Russian leader? I mean, is it more he's like, I don't care? Like, I don't care. Do what you want. Like, I don't know. I don't know the context, so I'm unaware. Sit down, people. Like, seriously, sit down. The State of the Union is such stupidness.
America
I think that's even when Trump does
is a
it. too, don't
founding
worry.
member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations, created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever.
We've
Welcome
been funding
Finland
most of
to the
NATO
alliance
most of
last
the time
year.
that we've been in.
And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. I'm going to stand up. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And they know how to fight.
No, they don't.
Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen.
That we fund
I say this to Congress.
more than
We
any
have to
other
stand
country.
up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill.
Why?
History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk.
Again, what benefit do we
is at
have of
risk.
being in Ukraine?
The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away.
Oh, cool. Waste a bunch of money, too.
My friend used to pay $163 for car insurance. Now look how much he pays.
We will not bow down. I will not bow down.
This is
And
such
a
a
little
jack
offense.
off fest.
History is watching. History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th.
Oh my God.
when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger.
Joe, explain to me this. How was this an insurrection when it was 14 days prior to transfer of power? There's no firearms. Sorry. There were no firearms. Nothing. No way to actually prevent the peaceful transfer of power. No supply lines. No hostages. No way to prevent the certification of electoral votes. How was this an insurrection? You gotta stop. Like, fucking hell, these Democrats, they just label it insurrection. But then how? And I've asked this question several times. No one's had an answer for me.
At the throat of American democracy. Many of you are here on that darkest of days.
It wasn't
We all
dark.
saw with our own eyes.
They weren't even in the building when it happened. They were all gone from the building when it happened. That's why there was no hostages. Come on.
The insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
14 days prior.
Overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed.
That's like beyond an exaggeration.
America stood. America stood strong and democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
No, that's bullshit. You guys were burying the truth. You called it like they were breaking and entering. Videos come out. They're being let in. You're calling it an insurrection. Not an insurrection. You can't have an insurrection with no firearms, no supply lines, no hostages, no way to prevent the electoral certification. That's complete bullshit.
Will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth.
Only one line to
You
you, Joe.
can't love your country only when you win.
Oh, say that to Democrats. What is this bullshit? Of course, that's all they ever do. I'm only happy with my country when we win. Like, it's Democrats too. Stop, Kamala. You're the same way.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office of defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections. Restore trust in our institutions.
Oh, you want to know the best way to restore any trust whatsoever, Joe? Voter ID. It's the best way to do it. Remove mail-in ballots.
Political violence has absolutely no place in America. Zero place.
What's the fucking death office?
Again, it's not hyperbole.
Yes, it is.
To suggest history is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. The Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer.
If they don't like it, elect new people to
to
office in Alabama and have it, do that.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom and so much more. Thank you. My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned.
So I'm looking at the Alabama legislation. Let's see. So here's things to know about the bill and the process making. So what's in the legislation? Both the state and the Senate, both the state Senate and House advanced identical legislations that would protect IVF providers and their employees from civil lawsuit and criminal prosecution over the destruction of or damage to an embryo. While the legislation protects medical providers, lawmakers amended the bills on Tuesday to allow certain civil lawsuits against companies that make equipment used for IVF if the equipment damages or destroys an embryo. The measure takes effect immediately, applies retroactively, blah, blah. Lawmakers says IVF providers were told that protections are enough to get them to resume services. Now, let's see. The bill is silent on whether embryos outside the body are legally considered children. In a February ruling to allow wrongful death lawsuits filed by couples whose frozen embryos were destroyed in an accident at a fertility clinic, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that the wrongful death applies to all unborn children, regardless of their location. This ruling, citing an anti-abortion provision added to the state constitution in 2018 that protects the rights of unborn children. It's not new to apply wrongful death or other laws to fetuses and embryos, but it was a significant development for a court to say that applies to embryos outside the body too. So I really don't understand what Biden's issue is. It seems like the legislation, this bill, protects IVF providers and their employees from civil lawsuits and criminal prosecution over the destruction of or damage to an embryo, but also allows certain lawsuits against companies that make the equipment for IVF if the equipment itself damages or destroys an embryo. I don't understand the issue here. Maybe someone can tell me, but I honestly, truly do not understand what's the problem with, with a law that prevents criminal or civil prosecution against like now it's just I really don't understand the problem here. Like, how is this bill bad at all? Maybe is there another? Am I just okay? No, this is 1 day ago. So now it just allows. It seems this is just to protect the IVF clinics from getting sued. So I really don't understand the issue here. I really should. I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't understand the issue. But okay.
He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed.
Okay.
What her family got through should have never happened as well. But
why? She lives in the state. She understands the thing. No. Don't get me wrong. I disagree with Texas handling of this. I really do. I think medically, required. If the child's gonna die, and I'm assuming this was, I think I remember reading this one, and the child is going to die regardless. I think an abortion should be allowed. I think that's a medically necessary abortion. So I disagree with Texas here 100%. It appears, if I remember correctly, this was a medically necessary abortion, or else either the child's going to die regardless, or she was going to die, something like that. So yeah, I 100% disagree with Texas here, but here's the thing. She was able to go to a different state and get the abortion done. And that's really what it was all about. Is she still was able to get it done. And regardless if you agree or disagree with Texas, you still have the freedom to move, to go to a different place and get it done. I don't understand this.
But it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need.
That's what happens. You're in now. You have the right in that state to advocate, and then advocate for congressmen or state congressmen, state house and senators and whatever. You're able to advocate for those people, get them into office, and have them implement the laws that you wish. You have that right. So become an activist and do it that way. That's your right. That's what Roe v. Wade is. Just turn it over to the states, and it's the will of the people of that state. Simple as that. And I think a majority of people, even in Texas, would say, yeah, if it's a medically necessary abortion, she should be able to get an abortion. I'm sure that's very well at hand here. So, and again, he even says it. They're criminalizing doctors to do it. Yeah, they're not criminalizing women.
Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom.
I don't agree with that.
My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Like, okay, doesn't affect the justices. Really, it really doesn't, because they're not beholden to the will of the people. They're not. They're justices for life. So they're not beholden to the will of the people. That's the whole point of having a Supreme Court that has lifetime appointments. You can impeach them, but that's about it. That doesn't affect them at all. And I guess apparently this is a threat to the Supreme Court. Not really a threat.
Clearly.
Oh, also, I disagree with the Republican attempt to do a federal ban on abortion. I don't agree with that at all. I agree with what we did with Roe v. Wade and turn it back to the states and allow states to do it. Republicans don't put a fucking bill for abortion federally. All right. States' rights. Let states handle it. Boom. Leave it alone.
Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Fucking getting up. This is why I hate to say it. It's just a giant jack-off fest. Like, for whatever party's in power, it's just a jack-off fest. Let me jerk off to this shit. It's so dumb. Let me just keep standing up to give a round of applause over bullshit.
If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
All right, guys, don't do it then. But Republicans, leave it alone. Stop. Leave it alone.
Folks,
Stop trying to do it. Abortion ban.
America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear? Record losses.
Yeah, the bullshit
Remember
fear.
the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind.
Yeah, the lies you guys.
A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness.
Oh, really? Whoa. You're complaining about the isolation and the and shout out to Bill Nade for the follow. So the bullshit of remember it used to be just 2 weeks to get ahead of the spread. And 2 weeks turned into 2 months. 2 months turned into 4 months. 4 months turned into a year, 2 years. Like, you're complaining about the mental health and isolation, blah, 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 fucking blah. But you were directly responsible by continuing to do lockdowns over something that did not affect people in the way you say. Oh, my fucking God.
President, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. Lies. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest.
And then it took you, what, 2 years before you ended the isolation? 2 years before you ended the shutdown? All the while allowing people to go and protest for BLM, but preventing religious leaders from preaching and people going to their congregation to pray and shit. But you allowed BLM to protest, and that was okay. But religious service, that wasn't allowed, even with social distancing.
Periods in the nation's history.
And again, you kept the shutdown going for like 2 years after you came into office.
News in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
I'm getting so annoyed by Kamala Harris every time it shows her standing up for dumb bullshit.
Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot. We leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccine that saved us from COVID.
The vaccine that you guys lied about said that
turning setback into comeback.
The vaccines you guys lied about said that, oh, this will prevent you from getting it. Oh, never mind. It won't prevent you from getting it, but you won't be able to spread it. Oh, no. You'll be able to spread it, but you'll at least have mild symptoms. Like, come on.
That's what America does. That's what America does. Folks, my inherited economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world.
That's a lie.
New jobs
that's complete bullshit. When Donald Trump left, gas was like $2. Now Biden's in office, it's at $4. What are you talking about? Our economy is the envy. Fucking inflation is at an all-time high. Groceries are expensive as hell. Like, what are you talking about? Stop with the bullshit. Stop with the bullshit.
Just 3 years, a record. Unemployment at 50-year lows. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are. We will.
Are you bringing back manufacturing jobs back from China?
More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up. Inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and trending lower.
That's bullshit. See, even Mike Johnson's like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
The landing is and will be soft. And now,
look, you guys know this because when you go to the grocery store, shit is still expensive.
Instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs right here in America, where they belong. And it takes time, but the American people are beginning to feel it. Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore.
That's a
On my
lie.
watch, federal
Trump was the one who
projects
was
that you fund,
increasing American
like
jobs
helping build
more
American
than any
roads, bridges, and
president in
highways,
history.
will be made with American products and built by American workers.
So you've removed a lot of China products, right? Doubt.
Creating good paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree. In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America. And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000.
Plans to expand, this is from the New York Times, plans to expand U.S. chip manufacturing are running into obstacles. Delay in finishing new factories are emerging just as the Biden administration begins handing out money to stoke domestic production. Let's see. So Taiwan semi-manufacturing company, the key maker, plans to spend $40 billion in Arizona on its first major U.S. hub for semiconductor production. That much behooved project in Phoenix with 2 new factories, including one with more advanced technologies, became a symbol of Biden's quest to spur domestic production of chips, the slices of silicone. Then summer, TSMC pushed back initial manufacturing as its first Arizona factory to 2025. Last month, the company said the second plant wouldn't produce chips until 2027, 2028, rather than 2026. So yeah, you're claiming, but apparently it's getting pushed back far back. Like, what are you saying? So that's a fact check lie. They're running into obstacles, not really, it hasn't really become a manufacturing. You're not leading it because it's being pushed back.
1,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you. If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernizing our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage. Providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities.
Look, if you can't afford a high-speed internet, don't get high-speed internet. Kind of right.
Because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody. We're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. The great comeback story is Belvedere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same. Folks.
The second American Civil War is going to make the Israel-Hamas conflict.
The folks of Belvedere, I say, instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs of the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America. Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up.
Remind me, isn't this the same guy who said he's the president of the UAW, and endorsed Biden, but admitted that his workers were more than likely going to vote for Trump, right? Same guy, right?
And Dawn Sim, a third generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line. And today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is bright. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger. Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor go way up and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well.
Then cut the taxes,
and there's
Joe.
more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing.
Cut the taxes, Joe.
Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending.
Here's why. Because see, well, wasn't it like it's because I can't remember what it was. Basically, like when we send a product overseas, like when manufacturers send a product overseas, they can only bill a certain amount, and then the rest of it gets labeled laid onto us. Like so, like say like something costs like $6 or whatever, but they can only charge $3 in Canada. Well, then when they're charging us here, they got to add that extra $3 here to make up for the lost revenue they got there. So instead of we saying, look, if you don't pay for the full cost, we're not going to ship this over to your country. They end up just we end up eating the cost of it. That was like the basics of it, if I remember correctly. How are you going to end it, Joe? I agree, it's wrong and it should end, but how are you going to end it, Joe?
For the law that I proposed and signed, not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit.
What else was in the bill?
But what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone. For years, people have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs.
Medicare.
Just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion. Because Medicare will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costly
So the $35 per month is only for Medicare.
To treat everything.
It can't sound like everyone else, but that's only here.
It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone.
How are you going to do that, Joe? How?
Folks,
you can say all you want that you want to do this, but how are you going to do it, Joe?
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place.
Yeah, it's because the country there doesn't allow them to charge the full amount.
The old Obamacare. It's still a very big deal.
Obamacare was crap.
Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. Well, my predecessor, and many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen.
If they wanted to get it repealed, he really has no say in it. One thing. Two, Obamacare wasn't that great. Affordable Care Act wasn't that great. Didn't it penalize you? Then Trump had to go and remove that penalization if you didn't have insurance. It's not that great of an act.
Stop you 50 times.
Also, yeah, insurance should be able to deny you insurance for pre-existing conditions. Okay, they're allowed to do that. I'm sure there's an insurance company somewhere that won't do it, or maybe in Medicare. I don't know.
Before it will stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it.
Oh yeah, that's great.
They enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce healthcare costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
Fiber helps you poop, right? Nope.
It's a weird
What about
advertising.
drinking lots of
To pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives all across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down.
Oh, you're going to keep
Put
trying to
toward their
provide them?
mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
Let me bribe the American people to vote me back in. That's what that basically was.
And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down. To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world.
Oops, that was an accident.
Different drugs over the next decade. Future in Belvedere, right?
Sorry
And my
about that.
administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, give a child every just for 2 years.
My bad. I just want to see how much more crap I had to listen to. Seems like about
And my administration
40 minutes.
is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down. To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world.
Sorry about that.
And I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year, that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is. I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable. They were mad that they were angry. I said, well, they were discussing
Are they mad?
why I
angry?
wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most, the CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? They all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want
Press
to expand
X to
high-quality
doubt.
tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
How about you just remove all, the trans crap, the political crap? Why don't we go back to, instead of having political ideals in schools, we just focus on educating? That probably would help a far, far more too, right? This whole drag show, story hours, crap like that. Maybe we should just stop that stuff. Stop, putting a bunch of, explicit content in school libraries. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should end 10 teacher unions so that good teachers will get promoted and earn more money while bad teachers get fired and ostracized. Maybe we should do that. Maybe that would help with an educational force.
I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure the college is more affordable.
Stop
Let's
subsidizing
continue
colleges.
increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions. I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college. And folks, look, such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise.
You want to do that? Remove student unions. Remove student unions. There you go. Remove student union. There we go. Simple as that.
And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. Over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal to cut another $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and the very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share. Look.
Drinking coffee every day didn't work for me, but I couldn't figure out why until I went from 180.
I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make a million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes.
Change the tax code, Joe.
A fair tax code is how we invest things that make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations. And
it's not correct to that. It's not correct at all. I remember having that tax cut and having more money. And I'm middle class at best.
Federal deficit.
And those top 1%, you know who those are? Those aren't billionaires. Those are business owners. That's who it was really benefiting. That 1%, those are business owners. So a tax cut was benefiting business owners, which allows them to hire more people. Oh, look how that fucking works.
They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In fact, the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
Why? Why? The more you raise corporate taxes, the less people they hire. Simple as that.
Finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only
Big oil? You mean, that'll allow us to have, lower gas prices, more money in the people's pockets?
supposed to be $1 million that could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. There are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse. I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care, and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you. The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion to the super wealthy. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
Tax the wealthy, tax the wealthy.
Look, too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer Same size bag. Put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it.
I'm getting so bored of this. Let's just jack off fest.
You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look.
Does anyone
I'm
really
also
care
getting
about
rid of
this?
Junk fees. Those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30 some dollars. They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front so there are no surprises. It matters.
I've never been surprised by
and so does this.
any of that. So I don't understand this.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen.
Oh,
you don't think
shit.
so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
What else is in the bill, Joe? What else was in the bill?
What are you against?
I mean, what else was in the bill?
100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
Why don't you just handle it right now? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I need more power to stop the border. Yet you're able to, you can't, like, this doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, why do you need more power to prevent something you already have power over? Like, what are you talking about? Trump enacted a travel ban against Muslim Americans, preventing people from coming here from not Muslim Americans, sorry, from countries that had like a high terrorist rate, whatever. So you're able, okay. So I'm just gonna call it the Muslim ban because it's easier to say. But, so Trump was able to put a ban, and so was Obama. We were able to put a travel ban on various countries, but you're not allowed to put a travel ban against illegal immigration and like just enact like any person who enters the country illegally, you're out. Unless, okay, if you enter the country illegally, gone, leave. We're going to arrest you. We're going to deport you. Simple as that. Why do you need emergency power to shut down the border just because there's a few more people in there? I don't get that. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why do you need more power to be able to just go, like, if you enter the country illegally, we're kicking you the fuck out? You know what else we should do? Any asylum seekers, we should ankle monitor them so they can't just, like, run away from their Like anyone who we let into the country, I guess not just asylum seekers, but anyone we enter the country that we will allow to enter the country, and stay here for whatever fucking reason, we should have put an ankle monitor on them so we can find out where they are, so that they can't just leave, or they can't just avoid going to their courts and staying in the country illegally. Like, I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand why you need more power, but you don't need any more power to enact a travel ban. You could just say, hey, if you enter the country illegally, go. That would solve most of our issue. Our issue isn't there's a lot of people going through the border, through border crossings. That's not our issue. Our issue is people entering the country illegal. That's our biggest issue. So stop that crap. And like, I don't understand why you need more power.
The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts.
Yeah, the fact is, our problem isn't the border crossing, it's illegal immigration. That's our problem. It's not border crossing, it's illegal immigration.
I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win. He viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley. It's Lincoln Riley. You fucking jagoff.
Who was killed by an illegal.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's our problem. It's not the border crossing. So I don't understand why you need more power for shutting down the border crossing if you just deport illegal immigrants. That's why this doesn't make any sense.
But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay people.
Here's how you change the dynamic at the border. Kick out illegal immigrants. If you're caught entering the country illegally, leave. If we find out you're here illegally, you're deported. If you enter the country illegally, deported. Like, this isn't that hard.
Well, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border.
Then build a wall.
They know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing.
Oh, how about this? Just deport them instantly. Why do we need to give them a hearing? If they enter the country illegally, bitches, peace out. That's what we should do. If they seek asylum, cool. You got to go to a border crossing or port of entry to seek asylum. If you enter here illegally and then say you're seeking asylum, kick them out.
And it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But
kick them out.
If it's only 6 months, 6 weeks.
Deport them.
The idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks.
Really? Then just do it. Why do you need more power to deport someone? Like, I don't understand. I understand it may cost more money. I understand that. It costs, money. I'm sure, but I don't understand why you need more power to shut down the border when you can just, our problem isn't the border crossing, it's illegal immigration. Kick people out. Stop fighting Texas, who's trying to prevent illegal crossings, and work with Texas. Fucking hell. Even this guy's like, this is bullshit.
My Republican friends owe it to the American people. Get this bill done.
No, because it doesn't do shit. Okay? It doesn't do shit. Why do we? Okay, here's why it doesn't do shit. Here's why it's a bad bill. We need to pay more judges so more people can have hearings. How about this? If you enter the country illegally, kick them out. Deport them. There we go. Simple. Fuck's sake. You don't need more judges. You need fewer illegal immigration, fewer people entering the country, or few people at the judges that we have talking to them and shit. We have fewer than that, then we don't need as many judges. And you know what? The way we get fewer people is to kick them the fuck out if they enter illegally. We don't care, okay? If you enter illegally, you're deported. Don't care. You want to come seek asylum? Enter through the border crossings.
Now.
There we go. That's probably why Republicans decided to fight back against the bill, because it didn't do shit. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, I got headache for some reason.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it.
No,
We can
because
do
it
it
doesn't
together.
do shit.
But that's what he apparently here's what he will not do.
What?
I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country.
Oh, really? 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 Immigrants? He was talking about immigrants? Immigrants? How about he was talking about illegal? Wait, maybe I heard that wrong. Hold on. Didn't benefit out. Maybe I heard him wrong.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in
Doesn't do
telling the
shit.
Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what he apparently here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are
Okay. Trump doesn't demonize immigrants. He demonizes illegal immigrants, the people who enter illegally.
poison in the blood of our country.
Illegal immigrants
I
are the
will
poison
not
of our country. Illegal immigrants.
separate families.
Illegal immigration. Fucking bullshit
not.
fucking liar.
Ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more.
Okay. Did you start deporting illegal immigration? If you enter the country illegally, deport them. Simple as that. That's all you need to do. That would probably end up taking so much out of the problem. Is if you deport illegal immigration. If you enter the country illegally, we don't care for a reason. We're sending you back. Simple as that. We don't care.
Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more.
Why?
But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, and ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all
Difference between the Irish and these Hispanic fucking illegal immigrants is the Irish came here legally. Legally.
come from somewhere. But we're all Americans.
No, if you enter the country illegally, you're not an American. Get the fuck out. Leave.
Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it.
Again, start
ready
by
to
kicking
fix
out
it.
illegal immigration.
Send me the border bill now.
No, because it doesn't do shit. It just sends more money for no bullshit. Guess what? You don't need any of that if you just kicked out illegal immigrants. Doesn't matter the reason, just kick them out. Simple as that.
A transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him.
I gotta enjoy like 21 more minutes.
But joining us tonight, our other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest
Why are you
on that
chewing
bloody
gum
Sunday to
at
help shake the nation's
State of the
conscience.
Union address?
5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law.
No, repeal the 19th. Repeal the 19th. Just joking.
Thank you.
Not really.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I know the Voting Rights Act is not the 19th
But
Amendment.
59
I'm joking.
years later, their
I know
forces
what it
taking us
is.
back
I'm
in
just
time.
joking.
Voter suppression,
Voter suppression.
election subversion,
Oh,
unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis was a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk.
yeah. Enact the voter ID law.
Pass the Freedom to Vote Act,
Freedom of the Vote
the
Act.
John
What's,
Lewis Voting Right Act.
Look at this Freedom to Vote Act.
And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong.
Oh,
Instead of a
what kind of books is it? Is it maybe sexual books that are very inappropriate for young children? Is that the books you're talking about?
Erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans,
I'm looking at the Freedom to Vote Act. None of this does anything to secure or provide any faith in like anything. Like it doesn't do anything. Like how about a voter ID law? That probably would provide a lot of people the faith in the voting election if it was a voter ID laws. Doesn't do any of that.
I have your back. Pass the PRO Act for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour.
Yeah, then they should go and earn that wage.
Also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it.
Oh my God.
I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs like the IBEW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
That's cool.
Conserving
So cool.
30% of Americans.
How are you going to handle powering all that? What's the plan on that? Because it's going to take a lot of power to do all that.
Lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
Wait, I'm about to fast forward because I'm getting a headache from shit.
To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office.
That's a lie.
Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up.
Oh, that's I believe that is the father of one of the soldiers killed when Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. He got arrested.
The biggest increase in history. It was then through my
this guy got
American Rescue
arrested.
Plan, which every American voted against, I might add. We made the largest investment in public safety ever, Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than
That's
50
a lie.
years.
That's a lie. I
But
don't
we
even
have
have to
more to
fact check
do.
that to know that's a lie.
Have helped cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking.
Retail crime, really? So that's oh my god, that's such a bullshit.
Keep building trust as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record.
Kamala. No, don't even try that bullshit, Kamala. Here's what you need to know about Kamala Harris. When she was DA, guess what? She was the one who was jailing what was it? She was jailing what's the word? She was jailing, she was keeping people in jail far past their sentences for weed related crimes. Like, she was the one doing the worst in when it came to weed crimes. Stop that.
Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America. There are other kinds of violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard
Uvalde, that's the place where the cops just stood outside until an off-duty officer ran in and killed the person, right? Right?
heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours.
Oh, and he was right about the murder rate. Shocking.
Meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something.
How about this? Tell the police to go in when they had more than the ability to go in. Like, I don't understand. Don't use Uvalde. That's a bad one to choose. You know why? Because the police stood outside for hours while people were getting murdered. They just stood outside. They didn't do shit. It's a bad one to bring up, Joe.
Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading the charge.
Gun violence. So I'm guessing that probably includes suicide, self-defense, accidents, stuff like that account for most of gun violence.
Thank you for doing it. Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh.
See, even Mike Jones doesn't believe what he just said. I want to hear the context. What's the context of Trump saying that?
After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it.
Oh, yeah? What was the context, Joe? Give us the full context.
I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
How would that prevent any violent, how would that reduce gun crimes? Since most gun crimes are committed by handguns, Joe.
Pass universal background checks.
You can already get a background check.
None of this. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment
Yes, it does.
or vilifies responsible gun owners.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Because guess what? Criminals aren't going to listen and they're going to get the guns anyways. So, yes, it does. It totally violates the Second Amendment and it criminalizes or victimizes gun owners because gun owners aren't the ones that are shooting up people for the most part. And by gun owners, I mean responsible gun owners, the majority of gun owners.
You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also we will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world.
Didn't you trade the Lord of War, the merchant of death, for the merchant of death for some NBA player that smuggled weed into the country? Didn't you release? Like seriously, come on, don't even try that crap.
Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards, under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin, families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day. And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to They're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. To the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time. And I say this as a lifelong supporter of Israel. My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime, but there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America is falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. There's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. That's why the song Support and Help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H.
And stop sending money to Ukraine and put it into the VA. How about that?
And remind us.
Stop sending money to Israel and put it into the VA.
We can do big things like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
No, you won't. That's crap. It's almost
Let me close with this.
Finally, fucking hell.
Yay! I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things.
So
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
So funny.
When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
There was some trouble there, Joe.
I left the law firm, became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president. In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they're going to let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal. It deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy.
I'm so tired of this that I gotta skip. I gotta speed ahead. We only got a couple minutes left.
The issue facing our nation isn't how old we are. It's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas. It'll only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there's nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, finally, fucking hell. Oh, so much bullshit in that. Seriously, there's a lot of bullshit. He said some true things, but he mostly said some bullshit. There we go. Like, and here's the thing: everyone's like, Democrats are touting this. Oh, look, this is Joe Biden, the stuttering guy who, blah 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 blah. Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% correct. Yes. And they're praising this speech as, the reason, to show that Joe isn't mentally declined. Okay, he had one good day. How about all the other times? Like, why are you touting one speech versus all the other times? Now he gives a couple speeches like this, like a couple. I mean, like 10, and he doesn't have any issues like that. I did a Joe Biden, but if he doesn't have any issues, then we can start talking. But you're talking about one speech after 100. Like, this is ridiculous. All right. So last but not least, let's listen to the Alabama Senator Katie Britt. Apparently, she has a response to Joe Biden's address. Let's see what she has to say.
I never could have imagined what my story.
Wow, her voice is fucking annoying. Wow. All right. Well, this is gonna be torture too.
Would entail. To think about what the American dream can do across just one generation in just one lifetime. It's truly breathtaking. But right now, the American dream has turned into a nightmare for so many families. The true, unvarnished state of our union begins and ends with this. Our families are hurting. Our country can do better. And you don't have to look any further than the crisis at our southern border to see it. President Biden inherited the most secure border of all time. But minutes after taking office, he suspended all deportations, he halted construction of the border wall, and he announced a plan to give amnesty to millions. We know that President Biden didn't just create this border crisis, he invited it with 94 executive actions in his first 100 days.
Okay. Well, that was just a clip, I guess. I'm not gonna watch the full thing because her fucking name is stupid. All right, that's all we got for today. Thank fucking God. All right, I'm done. I have a headache. I really like. First off, I don't know. Maybe she had a longer one. I can't stand her voice. Like this. I don't know. Fake holding back tears. I don't know. Whatever. I have no patience for that. But all right, sorry about that. Oh, fucking done. I'm so goddamn done. Oh, I have a headache. I yelled too much. All right. So there we go. That's the end. My thoughts. It wasn't that great of a speech. Did he say some truths? Absolutely. Did he lie a lot? Absolutely. It is what it is. I mean, but I think State of Unions are pretty fucking useless at this point. All it is a giant jack off fest, and that's just both for Trump and Biden. Like they're just where they're partying and just jack off to each other. That's all it is. It's like a circle jerk. So it's stupid. The amount of times Kamala Harris stood up to give a standing ovation was dumb. Biden doesn't care about solving illegal immigration. He cares about political points. That was clear. The bill he put forward doesn't do anything to solve our actual issue. Our actual issue isn't the border crisis. It's illegal immigration. So it's completely fucking useless. And you can't even say the girl's name correctly. Call her Lincoln Riley. It's Lincoln Riley. Doesn't care about that. Whatever. It wasn't that great of an address. And again, people are praising. So cool. His one of his last ones, he gaffed like 100 fucking times. I remember that one. So okay, cool. He did better this time. But they're counting one as a win, but he's had thousands of speeches where he just does not look competent. You can't just count the one. and be like, oh, see, this proves that he's competent, when in reality, that's one out of how many he's done? Seriously. All right. That's all I have today. I'm going to go take out my dogs, and then I'm going to go take a nap. My head hurts. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, give me a follow. I hope you enjoyed my screaming rant and yelling. I'm sure my wife was very confused why I was screaming down here. But yeah, so make sure you follow me, give me a like, and be back here Monday for another wonderful video. I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll talk about something. Hope you have a good day. Peace out, and see you later.